Yo, what up, YouTube? It's Goldie back with another review. We got another pad coming in hot. It's a glass pad this time. I know we reviewed, actually, our last pad was a glass pad. It was the return one, which was a pretty good one. This time we got a pretty exciting one. I've been waiting to try this one for a while because I haven't tried a WALLHACK slash SkyPad product since the 3.0. I have the SP-005. Got sent out to me by WALLHACK. Super excited about that one. So shout out to them. But I'm going to be just breaking this down as objectively as possible. They actually even told me, like, we want the honest truth, test this out and tell us how you think it is. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So this is basically an upgraded version of the SP-004. The major upgrades to note are not really to the surface, more so they're to the comfort and the ergonomics of the pad. You have these tapered edges. They're CNC tapered. They're very comfortable. I do not feel this pad at all. And you also have like a 1.5 millimeter reduction in thickness overall from the SP-004. And in my opinion, it is a huge difference because I am someone who kind of sits almost with my arm level to the desk. So I like my pad really thin so I don't feel it with my forearm. And I don't feel this pad at all. So it's actually pretty awesome. I think that's like that alone. I think if you ever feel the edge of your pad, it's like that alone, it's worth the upgrade from the 04. Coming from the WALLHACK 3, there is going to be a huge noticeable surface change, but we're going to be talking about that when we jump into the surface. We're going to start out with just basically what you get when you buy this pad. You can essentially either buy the pad on its own for like 120 bucks, or you can buy the bundle, which comes with these pretty awesome skates that I've been trying out and actually really like these. And the sleeve can also come with it in that bundle, but that bundle's about, I think, $150. You're paying like $30 more for those things, but honestly they're kind of worth it because I think a sleeve is essential, whether it be a sweatshirt sleeve or whatever, when you're using glass. Like the new age pads are great for like stickiness, but at the same time I think that you should still use a sleeve for optimal performance. So the bundle might be something you're looking at. So value-wise, you also get this like really nice hard plastic shell carry case, which didn't used to come with the older versions of the pads, which is pretty cool, and I think it's a pretty high-quality case. So now let's jump into the base here. The base is very good. It does move a little bit on my desk, though, and it is something that it doesn't bother me at all when I'm playing and shit, but like I've had other glass pads move, but I've had other ones that don't. So although this is a new redesigned and full silicone backing, it does move a little bit, at least on my surface. Like I said, though, you kind of got to force it. You definitely actually have to force it. And I've had pads buck and move without having to force it. So I think it's a pretty solid base. I would say it's a little above average, but it's not like great. It's just good, essentially. But obviously, like, your desktop surface matters a lot too. But it being like a fairly large glass pad, I think that it's a little weighted, right? It's glass. Even though these have gotten thinner and lighter, this shouldn't move on your desk very much. So I don't think it's too huge of an issue, but I'm going to point out everything. Like I said, when it comes to the comfort and the edges, I mean, you're not going to have an issue. I think it's pretty comfortable. There's some pads that are a little thinner these days, but in my opinion, at this thickness of, I think, overall 2.5 millimeters, I don't feel it at all. Now, for the surface, which is probably like most of the reason people are here, I would say, the surface coming from the 4 is not really going to be very much different. Basically, they did say that they kind of tried to get the disparity in between units a little better. They tried to refine some of the micro edges, the micro surfacing and stuff like that, so there's no spots and there's no consistency issues. I've still heard of some people claiming that, this pad varies from that pad and whatever, and there's definitely some disparity when it comes to glass, so it's just something to note. But I think that it's probably going to be a little more consistent than the 004. Overall, it still feels surface-wise pretty much the same. If you're comparing it to the 3, though, basically, like, it's way quieter. In my opinion, it's way smoother, and the skate dependency is less crazy. Like, I think it's a huge upgrade from the 3, although that's a great pad. That pad, I would say, plays faster than this one. This one's more like balance speed. Like, a WALLHACK 3 is pretty much a speed glass pad. So this one's slowed it down a little bit. It's a lot less sticky on your arm and your skin and your hand. If you get clammy or you just took a shower or you're sweaty or something like that, like, Even if you're wearing a sleeve, your hand can catch on some pads, but this pad does really good with that, and it's a lot better than the 3, like significantly. And it's very similar to the 4, but the 4 and the 5 make a huge jump up from that. The 5 is also, I forgot to mention, bigger than the 4. So I know a lot of people like those 500 by 500 pads. I don't think this is 500 by 500, but it's definitely bigger than the 4. The surface on this pad specifically, I'm going to talk about that now, is, I think it's great. Like, comparing it to other glass offerings, I've tried like so many glass pads, like probably like 20 at this point. Most of the meta ones, you know, Glassworks, Padsmith, Pulsar, random ones, whatever. I've tried a lot of them. And I think this one ranks up above almost all of them, except maybe one. And when I get a little deeper into comparisons later, I'm going to talk about that other one. But this is a top 1 or 2, like 1A, 1B surface for me. It plays so perfectly. Balance, speed. I think it's really where you want to be with glass. If you use fast skates, it's going to be zoomy. If you use more controlled skates, which kind of these are, and it's still pretty fast, you'll see, it's going to be a little more controlled in the micros. And that's what I love. I love like a more, like a little bit higher initial static friction on glass, because usually it's slippery as hell, but still like remaining, obviously it's glass. It's going to keep like a pretty, it's going to move, man. So I think that balance speed, like 7 out of 10 type of speed, is what this pad is and what it's geared towards, and what it, like, that is my preferred speed profile. In terms of how it feels, it is very smooth. It does have a micro texture, but it's like you're not going to feel it on your hand or your skate feedback, really. Skate dependency going to come into play there, but overall, most of your smoother, faster speed dots and stuff y'all are going to be using on this pad, they feel smooth as butter. There's almost no skate feedback. So I don't know if you like textural feedback on your hard pads or not, but I would say if this one is like almost 0, right? Like, it is smooth as butter. I didn't find it to perform like really hard to control in like any games that people are worried about, but I've been using glass for a long time. I see people talking about like, should I use this for CS or Val and shit like that all the time? I mean, probably not, but you could definitely do it. I think that it's very controllable, and you have a lot of stopping power depending on the skates that you have. But it's going to be like, if you got coffee hands or something like that, coffee jitters in the morning or something, like, it's going to be slippery as balls for some people too. So it's like definitely a huge adjustment period for glass. Definitely. I think even if you're a skilled gamer, if you've never used glass in your life, it's going to take a little bit to get up to this, but you get used to it over time. Some people never do. Some people do. Overall, I think the surface plays absolutely great in every title I've tried. I think it just is going to be better for heavier tracking games than it is for games that are requiring a ton of like micro precise fast TTK headshot attack shooters type speed. You could get away with it, but I think it's phenomenal and versatile. But yeah, that's typically where I lean when it comes to that conversation. Now, to jump into like comparisons, and then after that I'm going to be talking about what are the cons and what like that, and glass pads and this pad in general, and conclusion. So comparisons, I kind of wanted to just compare this after I've already compared it to the older versions. Comparing it to the new big one that's coming out that people are going to be like pretty much all over lately is the GLSSWRKS Polarity. I think that is another one that is going to be like the 1A, 1B kind of thing to this guy when it comes to pads that you can get that have like no art on them that people want. Because I know people are like, there's a lot of people who like want to try glass pads, and there's just, you know, everything is like an oversaturated AI anime pad. I know that's a whole thing, but like both those companies offer these pads now, and they're probably like the most accessible pads, like, and like, you can just get them, you can buy them, and I think they're going to perform really nicely, whether it be a first pad for you or like your 10th glass pad. The Polarity is a little bit slower than and more balanced than this one, with a little bit more of a micro texture, but it still is pretty smooth. And I would say, like, when it comes to, I just got it maybe a week or two ago. I would say that the stickiness and the dust and stuff is a little better on the Polarity, because that is a coated pad. It's finished with like a, you know, it's, I think they use like a chemical heat treatment for like a layering, and like it's a little better than this pad. This pad's uncoated. So I think that like this is really good for uncoated, by the way. Like, I don't have any issues, but I think the Polarity is going to be a little better for that. Both of them are thin with great edges. Polarity might have a little bit better of a base. They do send these skates with it, which I think are top. Like, these honestly are both great skates. These are both great skates. I've been using them on my glass pads. I've tried like all the Meta glass skates. These are probably like, I'm pretty sure these are just Ghost Glide Pro Cyclone, basically, like with a little more foam in them, layering for dampening. And then these are basically like, honestly, they play kind of and feel kind of similar, but not really. They're both like, I would say, more balanced skates though, and they're very good for durability when it comes to glass and stuff. So yeah, I've been using like Obsidian Pros and stuff like that. Those are pretty good too, but they get chewed up real fast. Same with those Silver Foxes and stuff. As you can see, I'm using the WALLHACK Silent Dots. They play so nicely on this pad. They do slow it down a little bit compared to something like if you're using like faster skates. But it's not like slow or muddy or tuggy or anything like that. It's going to be like the question of like, do I get this or the Polarity? It comes down to like, who do you want to support more? They're both great pads. Like if you want to go a little slower, maybe go Polarity. If you want something, if you don't care about coating or uncoated, which I don't think you should, then they're pretty much neck and neck. So yeah, I would go with the speed profile thing. Like they're both just great freaking pads. Like I don't think one even really edges out the other for me personally. I like the Polarity, maybe like the glide profile is like, it's just like a little more controlled, so it's a little more versatile across more titles kind of thing. But I think most people when they use glass want speed, and this gives you a little more speed. Jumping into the cons of this pad and glass pads in general. For this specific pad, I don't really have none. These days, the stuff that these companies are pumping out are phenomenal. This is a phenomenal pad. I have had no issues with it whatsoever, no complaints, but I'm going to get nitpicky here because I think we as reviewers should get nitpicky and talk about things. First of all, and I don't know how much you can do about this, especially as an uncoated pad, it's a little fingerprinty. It's not as bad as the VA or the CR, I think, but yeah, your oils and stuff on like a black pad, you're going to see them. I mean, oh wow. Other than that, dude, I mean, like, that's like, I can't really think of too many things to say that's bad about this pad. Maybe if they could try to get their consistency better between units, because I hear people like, oh, this one's different than that one, but like at the same time, this is one of the easiest glass pads to get. So you're just gonna hear that organically more from people. So you know what I mean? I can't vouch for that. I haven't had 40 of these, so I don't know. But if they could try to get the consistency, like that would be obviously amazing. But like, no cons. When it comes to cons for people like who have never used a glass pad, just as a quickie, skates get chewed up very quickly. You do have to wipe them down fairly often, and you probably should use a sleeve. And if it's cold environment, your pad's going to be cold as balls sometimes, and you can't really push into the pad. For some people, that's not going to be comfortable. It's definitely going to feel foreign at first. It's an acquired thing. Some people learn to love it. I think most people start out in that, like, what the hell is this category? There's a rare amount of people that immediately are like, yeah, this is endgame for me. But it's something you really have to just try for yourself and experiment. I think overall, like I said, this pad with the GLSSWRKS Polarity probably going to be your best options when it comes to something that you can just buy, because a lot of glass pads are limited drops. And obviously, if you want something it's going to be the more appealing, like you can just get black or white. There's no art, and a lot of people are like have an aversion to certain types of art on pads. So I could highly recommend this one. I really have like nothing but good things to say about both of those pads, and I don't think you could really, excuse me, I don't think you can really go wrong with either of them. So that's really just the gist of it. I would say that ultimately, if you want a pad that's a little faster, go with the WALLHACK. And I do like their whole bundle that you get with it, but the GLSSWRKS is also awesome. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching this and sticking with me through all these 15 minutes, and I hope that I kind of covered everything that you wanted to hear about these pads. I would say that most people don't subscribe to my channel, so if you like my videos, it would be awesome if you do and you support me. And you don't have to, but it'd be sick. I am going to be getting a code for this pad, which is awesome. So if you do want to support me and the company, you can use my code. You don't have to. There's like a billion other codes. You can use anyone's code, but it'll be called GoldEcs, just like my channel name and my socials and stuff. So if you want to use that, that'd be sick. But like I said, you don't have to. And these are, once again, my own thoughts about the pad. like anyone who knows me in the community knows I don't gas stuff for the sake of it. These are my own genuine thoughts, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching.